In many democratically run nations, political parties are central to governance given the roles they play both in agenda setting and in producing aspirants from whom the electorate will choose their leaders. For the past 22 years, Nigeria has had uninterrupted democracy, and within this period, the selection of party candidates has been either through direct or indirect primaries, usually at the discretion of the political parties. Now, just yesterday, during the amendments of the Electoral Act of 2010, the Senate approved direct primaries for nomination of candidates for elections. The rationale behind this decision has, over the last 24 hours, generated a lot of controversy, and PDP legislators in the National Assembly have also come out to issue a statement kicking against the approval of direct primaries for party elections. Tonight on Nigeria Today, our focus is on this issue of direct primaries and Nigeria's democracy. I'm Dennis Adigunloye. Welcome to the program. Now joining me in the studio to discuss direct primaries and Nigeria's democracy, we have Dr. Ernest Erike, Senior Lecturer, Department of Political Science at the University of Abuja. You're welcome to Nigeria Today, sir, once again.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
And also joining us on the program, we have another one of our regulars, Ibrahim Modibo, Public Affairs Analyst. Welcome back to Nigeria Today, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Agule.
Yeah, I'm aspiring to be a doctor.
Agule, yes.
I'm not quite there yet. But,
thank you very much. Good evening, Nigeria, and good to be on the panel with Dr. Erebe.
Yeah, pleasure.
You're welcome. All right, let me come to Dr. Ernest first. Amendment Bill 2021 of the 2010 Electoral Act earlier provided for political parties to nominate candidates for elections through direct or indirect primaries. Just as you heard from my intro, just yesterday, Nigerians saw a reversal on the amendment bill with the approval by the Senate that party primaries shall now be conducted only through direct primaries. Now, do you see any reason that warrants this reversal? Dr. Ernest.
Yes, thank you very much. I think there are so many reasons why the Senate decided to amend Clause 87 of the first amendment they did. But first is to join millions of Nigerians to commend the Senate for being a listening Senate. It has demonstrated that it is a people's Senate by hearkening to the voice of the people, particularly as it affects Clause 52, sub 3 of the amendment bill. The leadership of the Senate and members of the Senate have demonstrated that indeed the Senate and the National Assembly remains the house of the people. Now, coming back to the issue of direct primaries, I think there are so many reasons why the Senate decided to toe the path of the House of Representatives. One is that I would say that it is surprising that senators who are elites, who have always, controlled the process of nomination of political parties, who would ultimately have benefited from indirect primaries because some of them have resources at their disposal. And you know that indirect primaries, which involves delegates, is usually for the highest bidder. And so it is surprising that senators and indeed members of the House of Representatives will have the confidence and boldness, to amend Clause 87 to allow for only direct primaries. Now it means that the most popular candidate will win the primaries, supposedly. Now it also means that you are now taking the political party or the political parties back to the people. Now, it means that we are now trying to, move away from an elite-based political party to a mass-controlled political party. And so the advantages there will include that the people will now own the process. The people will now play a major role in determining who flies the flags of their various political parties. For me, it is a good development. And it is also surprising that members of the National Assembly could have the boldness to do that. Though there are disadvantages, really, because one, it increases the costs of running elections, and political parties really may not, at the moment, may not have the capacity, to conduct direct primaries, because party registration still remains a major challenge. To have the list of of all the members of the political party is still an issue for most of the political parties. You also, increasing the burden on INEC, because INEC has to be at the various polling units where these direct primaries will be conducted. And then, of course, we are also looking at the security challenges in the country. So it poses a lot of challenge, but I think one of the things it does is that it helps to strengthen the people's ownership of the process and the people's ownership of, their political parties.
Sure. All right, Mr. Ibrahim, no doubt this Ninth Senate has wants to be seen as one that is for the people, and as Dr. Ernest has just pointed out, they have gone against the grain, so to speak, by approving direct primaries as opposed to indirect. What is your take on this laudable, shall we say, move on the part of the Senate?
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeguloye.
Thank you.
By way of introduction, the word democracy drew its inspiration and origin from ancient Greece as far back as 580 BC, Athens. And democracy presupposes a government of the people by the people. In a democratic setup, or by virtue of the definition of democracy, there are various types of democracies. We have direct democracies, we have electronic democracies, we have participatory democracies, we have deliberate democracies, and so on. Now, looking at these direct primaries, there's correlation between direct primaries and all these types of democratic norms, or let's say concepts I've mentioned. You see, direct primaries presupposes that the party is taken back to the people. The party is being indigenized because the people at the grassroots level have a say. Unlike what we have, where now people with bags of money will come and hijack the political process and just use whatever this is at their disposal to emerge victors in an electoral process that is devoid of the necessities of democracy. Here we have the people going back to their localities, going back to the wards. In fact, with this direct democracy, democracy has been taken right to the ward level. There is this mass participation. That's the beauty of it. People will go back to their levels, they will go back to the grassroots. Go and be a grassroots mobilizer. Be a patriot, be a person that will be able to represent the people based on your character, based on your principles, based on the feelings of the people about what you'll be able to do to them. So the party is not taken to the people at the grassroots. It is no longer business as usual. Nobody will just emerge from anywhere and come and hijack the processes without going through the rudiments of party politicking. And the people who matter in a democratic setup, especially looking at the definition of democracy by Abraham Lincoln, that it's a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So the people matter under a direct primary. And therefore, it presupposes that in both content and character, the issue of direct primaries is one fundamental issue. I think is one area that I must commend the National Assembly for picking up the gauntlet to give Nigerians a facelift, to give Nigerians a sense of belonging, especially the common man. The common one will have a say, and if this is practiced with every sincerity of purpose, allowing the normal democratic process to pick up through direct primaries, I think we are going to have members of the National Assembly, members of the Senate, I mean the National Assembly, both lower and upper, the governors, the president, emerging through the networking of the grassroots, where mass participation of people especially the masses matter. Because for now, you find out that if there are indirect primaries where you have delegates, some people will just start doing this church, and at the end of the day, you'll find that, look, so many people will come up with different results and they'll claim victory. But under this present direct primaries, you must be a participant in or at the grassroots level. Like Dr. has rightly stated, there are in every advantage, there is disadvantage. Therefore, if you look at the beauty of taking this democratic journey from the world level, where the people matter, to, its end product, there are also problems. Problems associated with, you see, the funding. Because direct primaries presupposes that the politicians are going to spend more. Because you have to go on campaigns, you have to also get your representatives at every ward level to monitor your voting pattern and what have you. You also have to, and in this era of challenges, especially these security challenges that we have, it's not going to be easy. And INEC must also be up and doing. Because the Independent Electoral Commission must be up and doing in the sense that it has to monitor from the ward level up to the top. And therefore, there must be sincerity of purpose. There must be open and transparent, conduct of these elections so that the votes of the people matter. So that the people, at the end of the day, will beat their chest and say that, look, these are true representatives.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to defeat the purpose. As you say, this brings in the masses and their input is critical. All right, let me come back to Dr. Ernest. Some people believe that this approval by the Senate is tantamount to them impinging on the internal democracies of the political parties. Would you share this view that the conduct of primaries should be at the discretion of the parties themselves?
Well, while democracy allows individuals to determine, particularly political parties this time, to determine how they run their political parties, but I see this as a way of even strengthening internal democratic process within the political parties themselves. Because before now, and that is if eventually this scales through the conference committee and it is allowed to pass. Now, before now, what we have now is that whoever has the resources buys up all of the delegates. Sometimes you find that these delegates are quarantined somewhere. Other candidates do not have access to them. You find a situation where in a state, a state governor, in the various political parties, the various governors take charge, take absolute control of political parties in their various states. And so if you are not in the good books of the governor, if you are not in the good books of the godfathers within the state, then you may not have access. You will not be given access, to these delegates. And so that is not in itself democratic enough. And so if you are talking about internal party democracy, you are talking about a system that provides a level playing field for every member of the political party who wishes to aspire to any position to be able to do so. And that person should be given the confidence that if he is not, picked, that person should have confidence in the process, that he was allowed to go through the process fairly, and he lost in the process fairly. Yeah. But what we have now is a situation where you go through the process and you know that you did not lose fairly. And that breeds acrimony within the political parties. That breeds divisions within the political party. That breeds, disunity within the political party. And it is not democratic enough. But if we have a situation where the people decide, where members of the political parties decide who their candidates are, then we will be talking about deepening the internal democratic processes within political parties themselves. Because political parties cannot just be mouthing democracy. They have to practice democracy, because indeed parties are like the vehicles, within which we travel through the path of democracy. And if they are defective in themselves, then the entire democratic process will equally be affected. So while I feel that some parties may feel that this may, infringe on their rights to determine whether they should go left or right. But I also feel that in the long run, and to the benefit of all, Nigerians who may wish to aspire for positions, who may not have the kind of resources that the money banks have to buy up all the delegates, I feel that this may begin to, democratize internal practices of political parties in the country.
Absolutely. All right. Certainly in this up-and-coming democratic nation that we call Nigeria, certainly what you've said is critical in terms of democratically elected candidates. We'll take a break now. The program is Nigeria Today. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back. The program is Nigeria Today. We are discussing direct primaries and Nigeria's democracy. We have Dr. Ernest Irike here with us in the studio. He is a senior lecturer, Department of Political Science at the University of Abuja, and also Ibrahim Modibo, public affairs analyst. Mr. Ibrahim, you heard a lot of the critical points that were raised just before the break by Dr. Ernest. Most of the party elections held recently were indirect primaries, and massive vote buying from the delegates have usually been the case during these elections. Obviously, would you say that the direct method will be a solution to vote buying during primaries?
I think at this point in time we have to properly situate and contextualize the issues at stake. You see, by these direct primaries now, as I've earlier stated, the party has gone back to the people. It's no longer business as usual. As I've stated, this is a right step in the right direction. In the days gone by, especially when it comes to these indirect primaries, it was a situation where things were moving from the sublime to the ridiculous, where mediocrity and iniquity ruled. But with this development, the party structure has gone back to the people. There is mass participation. That's the beauty of this democratic setup, democracy. Under this direct primaries, the party, it has gone back to the people. And I challenge the youth and the women. This is the time for you, as you'll be yearning for mass participation, the youth want to come into governance. This is the challenge. It has not given you a wider opportunity to come in, go and look for votes, test your popularity rating. I can assure you that this issue of you saying that the old brigades have been, clamoring or they've been in power since independence, it's not going to be business as usual. You have the opportunity, very wide opportunity for you to move in, give your own manifestos, tell them that, look, this is what you want to do. If you're able to do that, the issue of now money bags hijacking the system will no longer be business as usual. And therefore, the young people, it is your time. Women, it is your time. In terms of numerical strength, if you look at the democratic setup, if women will be able to cooperate within themselves, believe me, they can capture the presidency, capture almost all the state governors, and also members of the National Assembly. If they will agree to align themselves within the democratic space to be able to support their own. Now the youths, they are the vanguard of all the elections in the country. It is now your time. If you want to test your popularity rating, if you want to come in full force, because it is now a global phenomenon. In this area of globalization and multiculturalism, I want to state that the youths must be in sync and in tune with the philosophies, with the rhymes and rhythm of events that are happening around the world. If you look at most of the presidents that are viable and vibrant are just below 50, some of them below 50, below 60. But although there are some that are old, but they are still doing very well. So this is the time for you not to always try to talk, but talk the walk. Be able to do your best, and this is an opportunity for mass participation. As Dr. has rightly stated, the party has gone to the people. It has gone to the grassroots. The issue of mass participation, as far as I'm concerned, it is a good omen. It's a very good thing to our democratic setup, because as it is today in Nigeria, people have been complaining of money by hijacking the system. But under this purview, they would have little or no opportunities to hijack the process if the participation comes from the grassroots. Because they are going to do, from the ward level, you go and queue, or you go with your ballot box and what have you, ballot papers, the result will be announced there. And therefore, are you going to buy millions and millions of people within a particular setup, or you have money to buy people from the grassroots, pay them, every individual, because the people matter, and the ballot paper of a particular person within a community also matters, because it counts. Every member of a political party that has a ballot paper or that has a registration is allowed to vote, and therefore the process to a large extent is going to be transparent, and it's going to be wide open for mass participation and mass movement within the democratic setup of Africa, especially within the Nigerian context.
All right, Dr. Ernest, clearly both of you are in huge support of the recent developments by the Senate to authorize direct primaries. Why would you say that opposition legislators at the National Assembly are kicking against this?
Well, maybe before I get to that, let me quickly make a comment on the question of whether there will still be vote buying.
Yeah.
Indeed, there will be vote buying. Mm-hmm. Indeed, the money bags will still, have a large say on how the elections will be, primary elections will be won and lost. But this time it means that you have to budget more as a godfather or as a money bag. You have to increase your budget on vote buying, because before now you with little resources you will be able to buy up all the delegates. But this time around we are expanding the number of those who will participate in the primary election. Therefore, and we are also conducting primary election within the same economy where we conduct the main elections. And when we go for main elections, we have always seen that vote buying has become an issue, and therefore it will play out in the direct primary elections. And maybe to go to why opposition political parties are crying blue murder, probably because they feel this infringes on the rights of political parties to determine how they run their political parties. They feel that in a democratic setting that political parties should be allowed to determine how they go, whether they should go left or right. And you may want to agree with them that they have that right, to determine how to go. But there is a more, and there is a higher national interest here. The higher national interest is that Nigerians want to have a say in how their candidates, emerge. Because one of the challenges we have had is political apathy, voters' apathy.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why we have voters' apathy is that the people would see candidates they love, candidates they want, popular candidates. Eventually, they will not be given, tickets. And so they feel that they have no business, going for the main elections, because the candidates they wanted were not allowed to go through, to the main elections. So again, while it may be difficult for us to begin with, to start with, because we already seen the teething problems with the direct primaries that the APC conducted in the 2019 general elections. Sometimes some candidates did not even know the venues where these direct primaries were to be held. But these are challenges that can be overcome with time. And I feel that eventually it will help to strengthen the political process, to help to strengthen political parties. It will also help to, encourage Nigerians, to begin to turn out more in elections.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Ernest Erike, Senior lecturer, Department of Political Science at the University of Abuja. Many thanks for sharing your perspectives and insight with us on this issue. Thank you.
Always my pleasure.
And thanks also, as always, to Ibrahim Modibo, our public affairs analyst. Thank you, sir, for your thoughts and perspectives also.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thanks to you out there for watching. Nigeria Today is live every weekday at 7:30 in the evening. You can also watch this and other editions on youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Dennis Adegunloye. Thanks for watching.